fight, it's all alright. Even if we yell, we'll be fine by tonight. 'Cause we can break up, but we will make up like we always do. Even if I say I don't love you, you know it's not true. 'Cause loving's what we do, and I love you.
One basic truth can be used as a foundation for a mountain of lies. And if we dig down deep enough into the mountain of lies and bring out that truth to set it on top of the mountain of lies, the entire mountain of lies will crumble under the weight of that one truth. And there is nothing more devastating to a structure of lies than the revelation of the truth upon which the structure of lies was built. Because the shock waves of the revelation of the truth reverberate and will continue to reverberate throughout the earth for generations to follow, awakening even those people who had no desire to be awakened to the truth. Welcome to the Great Awakening. The credibility of our institutions, constitutional law that governs our great land, our republic, and our ability to regain the trust and the faith of the American people all depends on our ability to restore equal justice under the law by prosecuting those responsible. Blind justice. Will Americans let the coronavirus panic destroy their liberty? This current balance of power in America is unsustainable and will not hold much longer. We just synced past the 245th anniversary of the shot heard round the world, and most Americans were too busy hunkering down and obeying government directives to remember how heavy the price for liberty always is. There is a rumbling right now below our feet, though, and these tremors may well split the earth around us if our elected leadership do not yield to common sense and shared American purpose. This moment in history is opening up before us two paths, one in which we reclaim ourselves the truth that all legitimate power begins with individual consent, and another that deviates sharply from our shared past by giving the state the ultimate authority for determining what rights each one of us may freely call our own. Down the path of freedom, we must take solid steps, for the other path promises to swallow us whole. I have no illusion that American liberty is destined to prevail over this new breed of socialism and government by fiat. Life gives us no certainties, only choices and opportunities. It's the other side that denies the existence of God while insisting that our historical fate is predetermined. Our side has always been cherished by human freedom precisely because we know how rare it is. History is replete with men dominating other men, kings versus kings. Now, what has always made America exceptional and what the other side has long forgotten and or ignored is that ours is a country that chose to end the cycle of domination by empowering the weakest among us to have an equal voice. For 245 years, we have lumbered down this difficult path with eyes wide open and confident in our inherited wisdom that to do otherwise would unleash the cycles of domination we have worked so very hard for to tame. And while many of us have watched apprehensively for many years now the encroaching tyranny of the state disguised under the cloak of the common will or the collective good. For it is only now that the advocates camped on the other side of freedom so boldly declare their intention to rule over us as they will. An awful lot can happen in the space of a month, as we are now reminded. Weeks ago, we were celebrating the most vibrant American economy in nearly a century, and looking forward to putting an exclamation point on that success by re-electing the man who shook the country awake by telling many difficult truths. From Venezuela to Iran, Hong Kong to UK, freedom was on the march everywhere. Now the Barack Obamas and John Kerrys and Al Gores across all 50 states are smiling with renewed joy that America, dominated by government control of everything and over everyone, is all but certain. For them, it seems. So sure that they are all finally broken the American spirit that they openly talk about all the time, and about our current national incarceration, basically, as a blueprint for permanent subjection under the guise of global warming emergency might be next. Joe Biden has literally lost his mind and is certain that he's already won the election, I'm sure. Everything we have worked for these last few years is fastly slipping away, as Trump would put it, bigly. So, or is it? The most dangerous fairy tale we often tell ourselves as Americans is that we understand and accept General John Stark's beseechment to his fellow granite staters that they live free or die. Until you meet that hard choice head on in this world, it is easy to invoke the spirit of America without suffering the attendant cost that a free America necessarily requires. For most Americans, that choice has seemed so relegated to the past that the constant chipping away of individual liberty, a little at a time over all the years, for the promise of governmental protection and security has seemed consistent with the government's promise to exercise only the powers vested in it by the people and nothing more. Like a magic trick gone horribly wrong, however, the government has hidden our liberty behind a secret veil of security and disappeared both in the process. Now, Benjamin Franklin warned us that trick would one day be played upon an unsuspecting public, and that day is right now. How many of us who have never set foot upon the battlefield or committed to sacrificing ourselves for another can honestly say what we understand the price of freedom is until this day? How many of us appreciated how quickly our freedom could be taken away by executive decree and our tacit compliance? If this period of national confinement and economic destruction does not stir in the blood a sense of urgency never to allow our government to take again with such ease what our ancestors tasked us with to such sacrifice, then our blood is already infested with something much more deadly than the Chinese virus. If this exercise in governmental overreach does not crystallize why internal vigilance is the price of liberty, then the battle is over. The war is already lost, and all that is left to consider is whether Biden lives long enough to become king. I, for one, believe that this pandemic will be remembered as an unexpected jolt to the American conscience that finally allowed us all to pull the emergency brake before we ran out of track. We will one day look back and realize that the opening salvo between unbridled state control and personal liberty began with President Trump took office, but only when politicians from coast to coast decided to steal for themselves power that was never theirs to possess. Did the real war for America's future just begin? Serious, this is something to think about. I am of the firm opinion that a population once exposed to the idea of freedom can never lose entirely that most vital gift from God. From every descendant of the Holocaust survivor, every freedom-loving Pole or Czech who endured Nazism or Stalinism, for every starving soul in Venezuela today, in order to taste freedom tomorrow, knows that nothing can eradicate human liberty so long as some voice somewhere can still remind others that God's gift of freedom is theirs by right. Life and liberty go hand in hand. When so many politicians these days seem comfortable with allowing the wolves of tyranny to nibble at the edges of both, there has never been a more important time to scream back. Not on my watch. And remember, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Ronald Reagan. I am Michael. This is the Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you. And where we go one, we go all. Make sure you are subscribed and like, share, and comment on this video. Thanks for all the donations. The link is down below in the description box underneath this video. Love and all the Patriots. Love and light, dark to light. And again, we are with you.